Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Boy, oh boy, folks, I have big news for you. The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell did a press conference. The White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki did a press conference, and some new information related to former President Trump. Yup, there's a lot to cover, folks. Let's get started. On your screen, you'll see a tweet from CNN which says that former President Trump lost his re-election due to voters' dissatisfaction with his handling of the pandemic, not shenanigans in the election. This was according to his own pollster in a post-campaign report. Folks, this is interesting. Voters felt that President Joe Biden was, I quote, better to handle the pandemic than Trump, according to a post-2020 election analysis of publicly available survey data from Trump's campaign pollster Tony Fabrizio. And folks, the pandemic was the most important issue among voters in 10 key states, and Biden carried those voters nearly 3-1. Folks, here's something that was mentioned in the report. While Trump dominated among voters focused on the economy, Biden won COVID voters, which was a bigger share of the electorate. And folks, Fabrizio focused this poll on 10 important states, 10 states which essentially decide the election every 4 years. These 10 states are Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, Iowa, North Carolina, Ohio, and Texas. And Biden and Trump each won 5 of these states. And though his job approval rating was mixed in these 10 states, Trump earned negative remarks on the handling of COVID, according to this report. Folks, shifting gears to President Biden, let's take a look at this tweet on your screen from the President of the United States. It's long past time we raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. The American Rescue Plan will get it done. Now, what's super interesting is that Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, in a White House briefing today, did not comment on whether President Biden would push for $15 an hour as part of the reconciliation package. If you've been following my channel, it looks like the Democrats are poised to pass reconciliation because Joe Manchin, there he is, hello Senator Manchin, the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, now came out and said that he's in support of the reconciliation package, which gives them the 51 votes that they need to pass reconciliation without a single vote from a Republican senator. Also, folks, some big news. This is reported by Seung Min Kim from the Washington Post. You'll see her tweet on your screen. President Biden told Senate Democrats on the virtual lunch today, because keep in mind, he was on a virtual lunch with the U.S. Secretary Janet Yellen as Senate Democrats. He told Republican senators yesterday that their package was too small. And also, this is super important. And here's a tweet on your screen from Jeff Stein from the Washington Post. President Biden told White House aides today that he wanted to send stimulus checks to middle-income Americans. Now, keep in mind, one of the big concerns for Senator Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat, is that individuals making $250,000 to $300,000 a year would get stimulus checks, and he didn't want that to happen. And the way that happens is, let's say a couple make $150,000 and they have 2 adult children, each of whom makes $75,000. You're talking about a family that collectively brings in $300,000, which would still get stimulus checks. Do you consider somebody making $250,000, $300,000 a household as middle income? Well, this is super interesting. Let's get back to the tweet on your screen from Jeff Stein. Jen Psaki said that President Biden believes a married couple in Scranton earning $120,000 a year, let's say a teacher and a nurse, deserve stimulus relief. Super interesting comments. That tells us where the White House is heading as far as the next round of stimulus checks is concerned, potentially making it more targeted, but not to the extent that it would leave out, this particular example, a married couple earning $120,000 a year. Very interesting comments about where stimulus could be heading. Folks, you have heard me mention this before. Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat, is very important. Let's actually understand his concerns about the $250,000 to $300,000 household getting stimulus checks. Let's hear what he had to say. Let's roll the tape.
The American Rescue Plan would give $1,400 checks to essentially every American. Senator Manchin believes those payments should be targeted.
We met with his economic team, and they put out what they wanted. We said, just show us the figures, because people need to know. We want to help everybody that needs help. But if a person's making $250,000 or $300,000, I don't think they're in much as need as a person making 40 or 50 that's been okay. That's all I've said. We're going to target it.
Two different approaches from one political party.
We ran as Democrats, but we are Americans, and we will lead as Americans. The reason I am here in West Virginia talking with you is because everybody matters, whether you voted for us or not.
And folks, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I've talked about Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat, right after the election. And I did tell our viewers and subscribers that he was the person to watch. He did say he is not in support of the $15 an hour minimum wage. I want to be clear. Without Joe Manchin, the Democrats will not be able to get the $15 an hour minimum wage. They will simply not be able to get it. Here's a tweet on your screen from Paul McLeod. Paul is a Capitol Hill reporter with BuzzFeed, and he pointed out that the White House press secretary did not comment on the $15 an hour, probably because the Democrats know that they are kind of in a difficult situation without Joe Manchin. They're definitely not going to get a single Republican supporting the $15 an hour. So Joe Manchin's vote for the $15 an hour is absolutely crucial. He did say today that he doesn't support it. He did say that, hey, $11 an hour seems reasonable for my state of West Virginia. And, Paul reports that unless they convince Joe Manchin to change his mind, it ain't happening. So, folks, pretty interesting developments on the stimulus front. Folks, I believe one of the key ways this will all get resolved is if President Joe Biden, there he is, hello, President Biden, speaks with the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. There he is. Hello, Mitch, what's up? Now, here's what's interesting, and you'll see this tweet on your screen from Burgess Everett, the co-congressional bureau chief of Politico. President Biden did call McConnell and speak with him, but they spoke about Burma and the budget. So, sounds like they haven't talked about stimulus, and it does seem like the president basically told the 10 Republican senators, hey, man, your proposal's too small. I want $1.9 trillion. That's a lot of money. And you folks are offering $618 billion. That's too small. It's a no-go. So it's pretty clear that the president probably feels, hey, I don't even need to waste my time talking to the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell. I'm simply going to get it done, and I'm going to focus on important votes like Senator Joe Manchin. There he is, the Democrat from West Virginia. These are the games, these are the dynamics going on, everyone, while we are poised for a $1.9 trillion reconciliation package. Folks, reconciliation is a messy process. It's probably going to make a lot of Republican senators pretty unhappy, but at this moment in time, it seems like the only viable option forward, the only viable path forward for major stimulus. And folks, in a clear indication that we might see a unilateral stimulus, anything but a bipartisan stimulus, in a clear signal, you'll see this headline on your screen from Bloomberg, and the headline reads, the Biden stimulus may be a Democrat-only stimulus despite a cordial meeting with 10 Republican senators. Democrats are indeed moving forward with budget reconciliation, and Biden apparently charmed the Republican senators who called the meeting excellent. But guess what? He might say, oh, it was nice to meet you and this, that, and the other, but they might end up doing exactly what they want. Also, the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, said that the stimulus proposal was bipartisan. This is a very interesting political strategy where they are defining bipartisan as something that is popular and not really bipartisan in the true sense of the word. Whether you agree with this, whether you think it's genius, whether you think it's brilliant, whether you think it's a way to gain popularity and maybe help the Democrats retain control of the House and the Senate, or whether you think it's some manipulation of the word bipartisan, that is up to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I would really, really appreciate that. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you all. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a member of our awesome community yet. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.